In calculating in third form, so there are simply two rules. One is you can cut down the product into two pieces, or you can cut down division, fraction into two pieces as well. So here it is. We don't have any additional rule or subtract rule in difference. For example, there is no rule say if you have a plus b, so we can't say, or we don't have a rule called addition of a plus b. In other words, that means when your answer is square root 2 plus square root 3, that's all. You can't do any simplification on it. But if you have a question like square root 2 times square root 3, according to rule number 1, you can further combine them as 2 times 3, which is a 6. So later on, when you have more idea about it, then or more practices about third form, you know the rule more often in a much better way. So according to rule number 1, I won't do it according to the workbook, but because it's a product, so that's why I will cut it down into two pieces. So each of them, it gives you a simple number, 3 and 5, so that's why you've got the result 15 already. So you see in the question is again talking about without using a calculator. So not really asking not to use calculator, but you can't just write the answer, but you need to show some steps on your understanding about the rule. For example, part B you can't just say 26 or else I give you a 0 mark. So instead, so what shall we do? We need not to break it down like maybe in 1A because it's hard. But so according to your calculator, you know 676 is 26 square. As a result, square and square root, they cancel each other. So that's why it's 26. It's easier, right? And then part C is very like part D. So maybe I pick part C as example. And part 2A, 2B, I left them for you. It's not easy to write to do taking square root in decimal number. But if you remember when we say in the previous session, we can use Shift ABC to turn decimal number into fraction, and you may try it out now. 1.44, okay, 1.44 Shift ABC, which is 36 over 25. The negative sign is always outside, don't remove it or else it's wrong. In fraction now by the formula on top of the page, so you can cut it into two pieces. One is square root of 36, one is square root of 25. So that's why you've got my 6 over 5 very quickly. Coming up next, we have another very important concept called rationalize or rationalization, in which we don't like to have a third form at the bottom of a fraction. And then, so let's take some examples here. So let's start from part 3A. So the rule would be if you have a third form at the bottom, like now we have square root 6, so we multiply. Let's wait. We multiply square root 6 and square root 6 up and down. And then next, we will do the calculation in this way. On top, they multiply together, so which gives you 5 square root 6. And then at the bottom, so they multiply together. Now you see the importance of multiplying the same third form up and down, because now when you talk about, okay, let's color it, square root 6 and square root 6, by calculator or by your understanding of third form, so the square root sign is gone, so that's why you have 6 at the bottom. So then we have the outcome. And the process is called rationalize in verb or rationalization in noun form. So now 1 over square root 3 as another example. So you multiply square root 3 up and down. Personally, I like to write in one very big fraction. Then you have square root 3 over 3 finally. And then part B, let's see. It is the square root of a whole fraction, so that's why we can cut it into two pieces, two third form. Then what shall we multiply up and down in your answer? Yes, certainly, you got it. Square root 3 and square root 3. So now on top, at the bottom first, it's simply 3 only. But if you remember, the rules in third form is when you have a product, the numbers can be multiplied together. So that's why you write as square root 21. And then part C, I think I still do it for you. square root on up and down, so it goes to 6 and root 5. Then for the rest, I think you can do it by yourselves quite easily. In some question, you have decimal numbers like this is called 5b, which you have fractions over there. So the best way will be, let's try to use calculator to simplify the division of the fractions first, which is, okay, let me check, is equal to 3 over 49, take the square root. So afterward is square root up and down. Wow, that's easy. You see we get the answer already. So next time when you see decimal numbers in fraction or product, then bear in mind that you can use calculator to simplify them first. Finally, we come to simplifying an expression like in number 6. So I don't prefer you to write the step like in the workbook. So the situation would be like is 4 root 5, 2 root 5 minus 3 root 5. And then somehow I will consider this one like, is it the question like 4a plus 2a minus 3a, if you consider root 5 as a simple letter. In this case, by algebra, then you know is 2 is 6, 6 minus 3 is 3, so that's why it's 3a. So that's why the answer will be written as 3 root 5 only. Easy, right? So let's take a look in more examples. Okay, part C, then you will see the numbers are quite big, so that's why we need to simplify the third form first. Each of them will be 20, we pick 4 to simplify it. 28 the same, we pick a 4 to simplify it. 45 this time we pick a 9 to simplify it. So by the rule in third form, product can be cut into two pieces, which you have square root 4, which is a 2, square root 5 is still square root 5. 4 is square root 2, square root 4 is 2, square root 7 is the same, square root 9 is 3, then you have square root 5. If you find it too fast, then I may be explaining this one again for you. So how we can obtain it? It comes from square root 4 times square root 5, that means it's 2 times square root 5. As abbreviation, we write 2 root 5. One more, square root 9 times 5 means is square root 9 times square root 5, which is 3 times square root 5, so that's why it comes to this expression. Will it be easier for you? Hopefully it helps you. So at last, now it goes to like term 2 root 5 through root 5 put together, while like terms minus 2 root 7 left behind. And now it's a subtraction, and then root 5, root 7, they're different. So that's why that's all for the answer. Next, let's read more examples to simplify it. Next one, 7c, shall we? It's a product, so everything multiplied together. It means it's 4 times root 50 times 3 times root 18. Seems very bulky, but you can categorize them first. 4 multiply 3, so which is 12. Root 50 and root 18, so you can put in a big fraction. By calculator is 50 times 18, which is 900. Again, by calculator you see it's 12 times 30, so you obtain the answer very quickly. Yes, right? These similarly, okay, first of all, product on top, which means the numbers can be put together. 7 times 56, very big one, it doesn't matter. Next is a quotient, product is a fraction, so that's why we can do the division here, which is 4200 divided by 7, which is 600. Then you can quickly simplify the numbers in this way. Afterward, by your skill in simplifying third, 600 this time we pick 100 to simplify it. So which is, okay, let's take a look for each with some explanation. So after that, you can break it down into root 100 and root 6. That means it's 10 times root 6. So that's why we write the answer directly. Easy, right? Hopefully it's yes. And finally, we pick part D as the end of this session. Wow. Okay, fraction. So that's why I write as square root 45 over square root 2. Minus 27, you pick 9 to simplify it. Root 5 over 2. Again, we separate it. Root 5, root 2 first. Next, you multiply root 2 up and down. Root 2. Hopefully the next one you can simplify quickly by yourselves is, can you get it? Yes, that's good. It's 3 square root 3. And you have square root 5 times square root 2, square root 2 times square root 2. So in this session is one of the very important skill to pick what item you multiply up and down in order to get the result. Do you remember what the process is called? Forget, right? So this process is called rationalization, which you want to remove the third form in denominator. In verb, we call it rationalize. So bear in mind these two words. Alright, let's go back to your question. Root 45, root 2 combined together is root 90. Bottom is 2. 3 root 3, no difference. It's root 10. And 2 root 2 is 2 as well. Next, 90 is too big, and you pick a number to simplify it, which is root 9 times 10 over 2. Minus 3 root 3 plus root 10, can you simplify it? 10 is just 2 and 5, no square number, so that's why that's all, root 10 over 2. Whereas you will see that now, okay, let's see. 9 times 10 can be simplified as 3 root 10 over 2. So at last you will see that it can be simplified with the last term. Minus 3 root 3 plus root 10 over 2. A little trick I would like to share here is when you deal with third form, calculator may help because at first you have called 3 over 2 root 10. At last you have called plus 1 over 2 root 10. That's why in calculator you can add up these two numbers together, which is a 2. At last you put root 10 over there. Okay, let's repeat again. You look at the root 10, there is 3 over 2 root 10. So that's why we just take 3 over 2 first. Root 10 here is 1 over 2. You take out 1 over 2. And you add them up together in calculator, which gives you a 2. So at last you say 2. What items you are talking about? It's talking about root 10. So that's why it's called 2 root 10 over there. And minus 3 root 3, put it at the end. So that's finished. We finished the question.